Hi, everybody. I'm Bianca Della Garza, and you have to check out Gene Valentino's Grassroots Truthscast podcast. I was a guest. He has the best guests always. Check him out.
I talked about short-term, long-term, what's your plan? Because the word that's the triggering word is entrepreneurship. I'm an adjunct professor, as Jeff referred to, over at Pensacola State College. And if you want to get into one of the entrepreneur courses we have there, just contact Dr. Nancy Johnson. She's really good. We have an advanced course that we actually pay for the tuition for toward your MBA. If you get into this class and do well, someone is picked as sort of the superstar of the class at the end, and I teach the class, and I have others on staff that do it as well. It's sort of my fling now. It's not my main thing. Jeff mentioned quite a few things that encompass my background, and in the half hour I have, do you want to hear a story about what I'm all about in my resume, or do you want to hear about some triggering things you can do to stimulate your ability to make some money? The word is entrepreneurship. You want to make some money? Yeah. I mean, that's what we're talking about, right? So I'll just refer to my history as it may apply. Elon Musk, $360 billion net worth. Started off with the sale of a company called PayPal, which netted him, it was a $1.5 billion sale, but his net coming out of it was only $175 million only, right? This is 2002, right after our said 9/11 event. Elon Musk, with $175 million, turns it into $365 billion. I'm not as interested in the size of the money as I am the style of behavior. Do you think Elon Musk cared what you thought, what you think? Do you think he really cares about how you may judge him with his crazy idea?
Oh yeah, I'm sure he does.
Yeah. So that's the point. And I remember being laughed at myself a few times. One was when I invested $40,000 right after my wedding in 1984 to my wife Maureen. I had $20,000 in savings, and we got about $20,000 more through the wedding. So here I am holding on to $40,000. And the United States government came up with this plan for a lottery opportunity. Talk about government doing something exciting to help you make money. At that time, their heart seemed to be in the right place, as compared to today is a different story. But at that time, they opened up a lottery system for the execution and delivery of cellular telephone licenses. This thing. So they had a lottery system, and I invested the $40,000 into a partnership with 20 guys, 20 folks, and we invested 1,480 times into this lottery process that was established by the United States government in 1,400 different times for these cellular regions around the country. They had started off with the metropolitan areas, but by 1984, 1986, they were moving into the rural areas, trying to disseminate this thing called cellular service throughout the whole country. They're trying to do it overnight because it's like FedEx, right? I mean, how do you open up a business like FedEx? You got to be up and running and everywhere all of a sudden. It's not like you can cherry pick. Well, you can, but it's relatively very fast. And the same thing happened in the cellular telephone industry. So I invested $40,000. It wasn't an investment. It wasn't. If some of you have the accounting background, it was really a prepaid expense. It was not an asset because it was a lottery. So it was an expense. I had no chance of winning. We did an analysis of all the different zones that the government had left to lottery. I'm telling you the story for a reason. And the lottery turned out, we determined that the average number of other people lotterying against was about 260, 280 other applicants in addition to us. So we'd try it 1,400 times around the nation. Statistics 101 tells you you're likely to hit one. if you're doing it 1,400 times, and the probability is 1 out of 256. So we did. And the one we won was RSA number 339 in Central California, referred to as California 4. It was a huge area between Sacramento and San Francisco at the north, all the way down south of Fresno before LA. We won a cellular lottery license in a lottery. It was God. It was a God thing, because I never forget my dad looking at me. He says, "If you lost your blankety blank mind, you just spent $40,000 on a lottery, and you just got off on your marriage, you're trying to get off the ground." How many people in your life around you are giving you that kind of a talk when you got a great idea that you're trying to get off the ground? He starts blaming my wife. "What'd you do to him? He just spent 40 grand on a damn lottery." It turned out, by the grace of God, to be the beginning of what I'm about to talk about. It was the triggering event that catapulted a series of other things that we can spend some time talking about. At the heart of every analytical analysis of every economic opportunity is it specific? Is it measurable? Is it reasonable? And what is the outcome measurable? And it turned out this was risky, but it was likely. And by the grace of God, the one we won was the one I mentioned. There weren't 256 applicants. There were 790. And if you can imagine the guy, his name is Greg McCaw. Most people don't know of him, but he had the Cellular One franchise system around the nation. You may remember in the early days of Cellular, the branded name Cellular One. Well, Cellular One was all around us, through all of California. And Greg McCaw's sitting in his room looking at this big hole in the donut in California. And he wants to put that yellow highlighter on it and finish off the rest of that state and say he could own the heck out of all of it. And he couldn't, because we got together, 20 of us from 20 walks of life, met in Washington, D.C. in 1986. After we had won the license, we called up the FCC and says, "Hey, I hear I just won the license. Where do I cash in my ticket?" "Oh, no, sir, you don't understand. You've got to raise about $12 million. You got to do it within 18 months, and you got to turn it on and get on the air. Otherwise, the license forfeits and goes back into the lottery for a redrawing." The 20 of us came together, about the size of the crowd here. We met in Washington, D.C., the people from all walks of life. We picked our leaders and who was going to do what. One guy who was the chairman of the group was an Eastern Airlines baggage handler that just got laid off. The second guy in the group was an owner of an insurance agency in Connecticut. That was me at the time. My trade was insurance. That was my background. I had no future in insurance, so I was looking for other windows to jump out of. I wanted a bigger opportunity. I didn't want to be held hostage to that employer that really gave me no future. And then the vice president was an apple orchard farmer from Rentham, Massachusetts. The secretary was a Jewish orchestra leader from Bloomfield Hills, Michigan. And the treasurer was he owned a diner in the outskirts of Indiana. We came together and we watched the hostile sharks coming into our meeting the next day, trying to take off one or two people. Now, each of us had a percentage of the company. The highest was about 10%. I had about 10%. But most of the other investors were between 1.5% and 4%. They started buying out some of the other people. So we met that night and we said, "Look, I don't know you. You don't know me. But there's the enemy over there, and they're trying to do a hostile takeover and take us out one by one." And they almost won. They almost succeeded. They got up to 25% owner of our company. That was Greg McCaw, McCaw Cellular, the big shark all around us in Florida, in California. And so we stopped him and said, "I don't sell." We signed a blood brother agreement. I don't sell unless you sell. You don't sell unless I sell. We're all selling together or we're not selling at all, which drove up the price for the buyer because he knew he couldn't pick off the 2 and 4 percenters one at a time at 30 cents on the dollar. And so we saved the company. We came to Florida to start. They asked me to come to Florida once a month from Connecticut, where I was at the time. And my role as the president of Cellular One was to audit the books of the general contractor that just moved down from New England to Pensacola. And they moved down to the building, it's not there anymore, but it's right across from the old Marcello's at the end of Navy Boulevard. Right across the street was a Gulf Power substation, which became a business building. Well, the contractors that build and construct the towers, all the infrastructure of a cellular system, were headquartered there, and they put up towers and systems all over the nation for other people that won their lotteries just like I did. We became good friends. I'd come down here once a month, audit their books, make sure we were on target. We didn't have time to waste. We had an 18-month deadline or we're going to lose our fortune. This to everybody was like Horatio Alger's story, the American gospel to success. This was our bite at the apple. And by the grace of God, on my birthday, ironically, we get a call from the contractor. They had just turned on the system. We went live, filed our Form 489 with the FCC. We were now a legal cellular telephone company as a public utility, exactly 7 days before the deadline. Boy, and we had every issue in the world in terms of regulation thrown at us, especially in California. That, I tell you, was a passion. And during the time, I'm reminded of the hostile attitude of the people around us who thought, cellular phone? That's never going to go anywhere. I mean, do you think people are going to be talking on this thing and driving? What are you, crazy? This will never take off. You have to remind yourself of the people around you sometime that give you an opinion about something that you're passionate about that may be totally off base. I'm not spending in the 20 minutes I have left trying to describe the economic spreadsheets that you're going to be expected to put together on your great idea, or the merits of the business plan, or what the procedures are going to be in terms of getting debt, coming out of pocket, or bringing in other investor partners. That's an entrepreneurial class discussion that we can go several hours on. But today's conversation is geared toward getting there. So the passion we had in getting there over the 18 months had everything to do with the passion of the people and your belief that it would work. Well, the partner that we had, which was the hostile shark that couldn't get any more of us, is now a minority partner. And now they're not, and they're the biggest shark in the pond. We thought that maybe someday they would be the ultimate buyers of the company. They weren't. Someone else came in. It made the Wall Street Journal. We got $340 a pop, a value methodology, a valuation methodology that Wall Street used on cellular phone companies at the time because it was new. They had no other mechanism to measure. It made the front page of the Wall Street Journal in 1996. We sold the company for $125 million. It was funny. After 3 years of working, not getting paid at all, we finally were able, after we turned on the system, the first month, the antenna had a $14,000 revenue stream from some people coming through on roaming. We didn't have offices yet. It was just people catching our tower. It was the roaming revenue. The next month was $180,000. The third month, 6 months later, it was $900,000. Within a year and a half, we were doing $3.3 million a month in revenue. And it took off. It was a real rags to riches story. And my dad, who thought I was crazy, I bought him a house in Gulf Breeze. So everything has a path. And my message to you is believe in we all have passions. We have a passion with our faith. we have our passions with our business ideas, and treat them both the same, with the same level of intensity. And if you believe in the project as much as you do, then the answers will come to you on how to put the solution together to get there. So I took my 10% of $120 million, and that was in 1996, I think. And I had a little cardboard little office. I couldn't even afford, I wasn't sure I wanted to spend any money, so I had rented the whole top floor above the fish house downtown, Atlas Oyster Bar. The whole floor above there, I rented out from Ray Rustenberger, who was my neighbor at the time at Port Royal. Sublet all the rooms so I'd get my rent paid off. I was micro-analyzing everything. I didn't want to spend any money. Everything was a deal, you know. But we grew collector solutions as opposed to collection solutions. And I have the privilege of meeting Jeff in that early day journey. We started above the fish house and moved to Garden Street, the Wachovia building, which is what Jeff was referring to. That's when we had Hurricane Ivan in 2004. Was that it? And the whole staff we had over in the building was up on the second floor, thank God. Garden Street was flooded. The water was covering the top of the parking meters, and you'd watch people for a day jet skiing down Garden Street. Weird. Economically, we took that money and created a payment processing company. Elon Musk is the payer's solution. People bought into this thing called PayPal to use him for the individual to pay their bills or pay anything. My company was the collector's solution, not to be confused with a collection agency. We came up with this idea from two guys, Dan Cell, who was now closed. They weren't building towers anymore. I took the CFO from there and I said, Jack, come on in with me. Let's try to make this idea work. So Janet Holly, our tax collector here in town, I ended up saying to her, what if we could take this payment process for the taxpayer and let them pay online by credit card or electronic check? That'll never work, she said. She says, look, if you want to try it, go ahead. You write the software. I don't want any licensing fees. I don't want any fees to install. I don't want any upgrade maintenance fees. I don't want to pay for a thing, but I'll let you connect to my system. However, you can charge the citizen, the taxpayer, a convenience fee. And so that's how we got into business. Thought I lost my shirt. We spent over $650,000 just to get the thing working. 2 days are going by. The taxes bills had just gone out. I'm waiting for the screen to show. I was getting pretty depressed. All of a sudden, bing. Hey, Gene, come in here. We got one that just came up on the screen. An hour later, bing. Half hour later, bing, bing. Next thing you know, bing, 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 bing. And it started taking off. We were moving. We moved out of the Wachovia building where Jeff was referencing earlier to the Levin Papantonio building, took the whole fifth floor under Fred Levin's top floor. My employment team grew from 2 or 3 of us to 26 of us. We're not only doing the tax collector of Escambia County, but the church, as Jeff mentioned, and ESP Energy Services, and 320 other counties like Escambia around the nation, and then got the bid beating some big banks on the entire state of Missouri and the entire state of Illinois. In the early days, the banks would not lend on our idea. We were producing $3.7 billion a year in transactions through the banks in Escambia County. And now they're coming in to see me and they're saying, hey, would you like a line of credit? Would you like a... Well, wait a minute, I don't need any money now. I needed it back then when you told me I was a rookie and I didn't have a pot to pee in. I said, why are the banks all doing it at the wrong time? They want to be your best friends when you've got the money to give them, but they have nothing to really go on at risk on with you. And that's the challenge of making sure your underwriting criteria is in place to make sure your analytics are in place in getting and taking on a risk. We ended up taking the company, and I had a decision to make. We're going to either become a credit card company so I can get rid of the expense of the credit card industry and let that become part of my direct cost, not letting them charge me up with their margin on the credit card, or we had to partner with them, or we had to do the same thing with the bank. There's about 12, 14 credit card company processors in the United States, and one down 8th or 9th on the list that's publicly traded was called JetPay. JetPay had some concerns, but I knew I had to make a big decision to take the company to the next level. So I took the $20 million value of our assessed appraised value of our company, Collector Solutions, and merged it into JetPay, which was publicly traded. So now, instead of being the CEO of my little kingdom with 26 employees, I'm now Chief Strategy Officer, reporting to a CEO of a company with 380 employees. And my value is now 20% of this company. So in your business planning is what I'm making reference to. Use this as the model in your thinking. There's a point in time for, like with your shop, you can only get so many more shops going and handling it on your own. Do you merge and roll into a bigger player, with a bigger player? And same thing back there with you with your home services service. Do you make a decision to become a partner with someone else? Or do you say, I'm happy just the way I am? So back to my theme for today, short versus long term. Do you want to create something and flip it for an immediate capital gain and put some money in your pocket? Or is it a long-term strategy where you're building a business for your children and your grandchildren? Or something that's going to just have a cash flow for you for an extended period of time? Drives the format of what your business plan is going to be and who you're going to seek money from to help you with your investment. We chose, that's why it was difficult, Mr. Big Shot here, had I eat a little bit of humble pie, I'm not the big cheese anymore, I'm now working for a CEO, and I know how that was going to go. They did guarantee 5 years of salary for all my employees, which I demanded before we closed the deal, and they did. And halfway through that 5-year period, takes us to 2018, 2019, a small company by the name of NCR, National Cash Register, bought us out for $350 million. And so I went, that's it, I'm done. That's it. So today I'm enjoying giving back to the community. As T-Bone knows and Stan knows, I ran recently for United States Congress. I lost against Jimmy Patronis in the Republican primary with 10 players. Everyone tries to get to a point where they're trying to give back to the community. And that's what I'm sincerely trying to do now. And I still do the entrepreneurial classes over at Pensacola State College. We can get into business plan and business analytics and discussing the market. To me, these are all the regiments you get into. What's most important is your idea. Like Elon Musk didn't care about what people thought of his idea, you shouldn't give a hoot what people think of your crazy ass idea. Your idea is worth $1 billion to you. You stay on it with a passion and a pride. Don't give up with it. There's no crazy idea. It might need some refinement and some fine tuning, but that goes with the process anywhere. So my comment would be, well, how can I say it nicely? Make sure you leave time in your life to have fun, to reflect on the idea that you work so passionately for. It's done through good faith. It's done through your family. It's done by making sure you surround yourself with people around you that are important. Today, I'm doing something I always wanted to do. I'm doing the work at adjunct professor. Just signed a contract with Newsmax. I'm a contributor on Newsmax 2 or 3 times a week. I'll be finding out in the next month or two whether I'm going to be in New York or Boca Raton. I'm not doing it for the money, but boy, is it a lot of fun. If you go on Newsmax, you'll see me on about 3 times a week. They call me up to contribute on political, social issues pertaining to the issue du jour, right? But Chris Ruddy, the owner of Newsmax, called me in, and he's the founder, and he's going through the same thing I went through on a different scale. He just put out an offering for $220 million, and it's called a convertible note. So people give him the money with the intention of investing, but it's really a loan today, and you're earning interest off it. When he decides, he ends up converting that note, and he's going to do it next week, to stock, and that'll be coming out on the New York Stock Exchange in the next week or two. During that process, we got to be friends, and so looks like I'll be doing something with Newsmax in the next few weeks. It was never about the money to me. It was always about the drive. I was listening to, what's his name, Ludwig, Director of Commerce, Secretary of Commerce under Trump. I was listening to him the other day on an interview. He's got hundreds of millions of dollars. It's not about the money for these guys. It's about the passion for the challenge. So jumping from one to the other has always been the passion. We own a major stake in a chartered jet service. We own 4 hotels right now in our company, along with, and we're going to open a 5th one up in Jacksonville in the next month or so. We're raising about, it's a $68 million investment, but we're raising about $12 million. If you know anybody who may want in on that, I'm open to consider that. Not everyone has $12 million, but people could come in for something less. So we're just having fun with it. But the real thing that pays me literally almost nothing yet is the podcast, which I leave you with, www.genevalentino.com. Please go there. Please subscribe. Every week I'm doing podcasts. A few weeks ago I did Rudy Giuliani as my guest. Before that I had Dr. Malone, the epidemiologist, on the issue regarding the COVID vaccinations. We had Lee Greenwood, God bless the USA. He came on and got him to pitch his new Bible that has the articles, the Bill of Rights in the front of the Bible. It was a combined publication. Had a lot of people on. Tom Homan, acting ICE director. He was my guest twice on there. We've had some, Roger Stone was a little bit more inflammatory. And that's how I think Newsmax first found me. But I'm having fun. I'm doing you all have to have in your brain room to do in life what you want to do, not what you have to do. But it has to be, you have to be patient. Sometimes you got to do what you have to do first to get the bucks necessary, take care of the family, take care of the kids, take care of your obligations. But make sure you leave room in your life, not only for the Lord, but to do what you want to do. And that's what I'm at the point of gratefully being able to say I can do myself right now. Well, let me put it to you this way. Fast forward to 8 weeks ago, when I was running for United States Congress, we had only 2 months to decide. Actually, this is Matt Gaetz' seat that he vacated, and so the Secretary of State created a narrow window of just 2 months to campaign. Now, you're running for Congress, it's about 14 months, and you're raising $2 million to campaign. We had only 2 months, and we were covering 4 counties. This is Congressional District number 1. My wife was with me through the whole thing. In fact, I had to stop a few times and say, "Are you sure you're up for this? This is going to be crazy." And it was. It's taken its toll on me. I was telling T-Bone a little earlier. 14-hour days, came down with that nasty flu that's been going around, 103-degree temperature, in bed for 2 days, and on antibiotics, and my stomach's still messed up. She was with me the whole way. It's been 41 years of marriage. So it's worked. Something's going right, I think. I can't say it hasn't had an issue here or there. You just tell me someone who thinks otherwise. But it's been a wonderful journey. I knew her when she was dating the superstar in college, in high school. She went to elementary school and high school with me. Never dated her, but she was always the cheerleader with the college superstar quarterback, and I was the wimpy, skinny little run his brains out on the track team, and we just didn't connect back then. We connected later, but that's the short version of a long story. So if you have a specific business plan or an idea, I have a complete format to run you through. I'd be happy to hear about it more privately with you, entertain what it is you're trying to achieve. And remember, there's no crazy-ass idea with me, and no one gets insulted. There's no crazy ideas. I think sometimes our methodology on how we bring something to market needs to be thought through more carefully. Things have changed for me, even with my podcasts in the last 2 years with the social media and how things are moving so quickly. It's affecting the television and radio networks as well because of the way social media is becoming so predominant. So knowing your market, knowing the marketplace, knowing the competition is absolutely essential. And if you do nothing but just stare at what's going on around you, there's a lot of embattled businesses that are in trouble because of their own mismanagement or stubbornness to change to changing currents in the marketplace. If you see that's an issue, that's also an opportunity from my point of view. And I'm always trolling, looking around for those opportunities. Long-term plan, short-term plan. You want to make money in the next 6 days to 6 months, or you're worrying about something for your grandkids? Drives the model that you're going to set up for your investment strategy. Thank you very much.
I remember the first meeting that I had with our chief medical team, and I said to them, life comes down, you're going to be judged by the choices that you make. And when the choice to start this company came up, it was a no-brainer, because we all need to fight for what we believe in, and we need to strive for something.
I'm Dr. Heather Gessling. I'm a family medicine physician. I am the Chief Operating Officer for the medical team at the Wellness Company. We strive to base all of our decisions on science, and the lack of unbiased science in the last 2 years is one of the catalysts that has brought about the Wellness Company.
My role in the Wellness Company is going to be largely one of education and re-education of our physician corps, who are going to be administering medicine to large numbers of people, we hope, under our guidance. Okay, we are not going to be telling them how to practice, but we are going to be telling them how to approach the patient in a different way. And that way involves returning to the first principles of medicine, which are the basic sciences.
Myself and the Wellness Company rely on data, scientific data, to drive critical decisions. But importantly, we must consider all available sources of data. Everything's on the table. Nutrition is basically what we put in our bodies, and you can imagine what we put in our bodies really matters. And nutrition science is going to play a giant role in the data-driven decisions and treatment plans that we devise at the Wellness Company.
So I'm Dr. Jen Vandewater. I'm a doctor of pharmacy. I graduated pharmacy college in 2006. I worked mostly for retail pharmacies, and through the years I noticed that it became very robotic. The pharmacy industry was no longer about patient care, and it became more fill prescriptions, give shots, anything you could do just to keep busy. There was no time for patient interaction and patient well-being. But while I was there, I was still seeing that people were on lots and lots and lots of medications. So as I was watching doctors prescribe more and more, I thought, well, how can I assist and help the patient realize they may be on too many medications?
Current medical practice is so completely off the rails that it almost has to be destroyed and rebuilt from the ground up, because we have allowed ourselves to be taken over by pharma for the most part. Most doctors just prescribe, they treat numbers as opposed to patients. They don't reverse disease, they maintain chronic disease. This is all wrong. Our approach is wrong. Our approach to these diseases is wrong. It is all based on giving a pill to treat a number. That is what modern medicine has become. We are not treating patients, we are treating numbers.
It's always been said that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And if we can prevent an illness, we can prevent suffering, potentially hospitalization, progression of disease, and death. So prevention is absolutely critical.
I see creating an integrated healthcare system that focuses on prevention versus being reactive. I see a company that's going to continue to have amazing products and put third-party products on our store and in our platform that are vetted by some of the best physicians in the world.
What makes the wellness company's approach unique is that we're coming at different angles. We're not just coming into one area of health, we're coming into education. We're coming into training even providers on what health actually looks like. We've been kind of confused and misguided through the years, so the wellness company is hitting it in a way that nobody else has hit it before.
We have to go back to treating patients and getting them healthy again and maintaining that state of good health.
I truly am inspired to leave the world a better place than I came in. I want to create that change. I want to help people.
Grow in what you know about your health. Your health is yours. You own your body. We want to just guide you in that so you can make the right decisions for your health. And I'm excited to tell you that we're here and we're bringing you the best.